Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope I get a good signal. I had trouble getting on. That's why I'm 5 minutes past my scheduled start time. Kept getting kicked out, but the third time's a charm. I hope everybody's doing okay. We had a big blowout last night. I don't know how many of you all joined. Nikki B, I was on her program last night. That's where I was. Ha ha ha. And we watched the whole thing and we watched Mr. T's speech. So here we're going to go over what I tell you what, it's got them all rattled. I changed my thumbnail. I guess I got a thumbnail. I'll use my next broadcast. It says on the picture, it says sweating like a fanny in church. But I'll use that in my next thumbnail. I made a new one that says blowout because that's what it was. Even though they did everything they could to try to minimize what Trump's victory was. It was the biggest number of votes in history, the biggest spread between the winner and the second place person. It was historic, and they still pulled off shenanigans. We'll get into all that, but let me see who's here. How you doing, Susie? Finding Dory. Nikki, how you doing? Nikki B. KS Cleanup. Oh, good. It sounds good. Wanda, Debbie, Ingrid, single songwriter. Yeah, you were there. Tubla, Angel. Yeah, subscribe, hit the thumbs up right when you get in. That way you don't forget it. Ha ha ha. Gary, how you doing? Jersey Joe, Rubber Toe, B Dog. Well, it's good to see you guys. I tell you what, Vivek, he dropped out and he endorsed Mr. T. You know, we get some people in the chats. I'll do a little bragging on myself because a pat on the back is only 18 inches away from a kick in the pants. But I'll pat myself on the back anyway. Ha ha ha. Yep, I had to get in here a little closer to the wood stove, folks, because single digits tonight. I might just stuff Sadie inside my coat while I'm doing my broadcast to stay warm. I don't know if she'll. I guess if I put some food inside my coat, she stay there all night. Yes, right, Gary. A total meltdown at mainstream media. Yeah, I got some clips yesterday. I got some clips today. And I tell you what, I watched Rachel Madcow, and I said, well, I don't got to get that clip because I already played that clip. I don't know. I played it about 3 nights ago, maybe. And Rachel Madcow, no, it might have been 2 nights ago. And Rachel Madcow said, we're not going to play what Donald Trump has to say. And it was right after his first indictment. Way back when he first got indicted. And she almost said word for word the same thing about his win in Iowa, that they were refusing to put his words on TV. Boy, I tell you what, that shows you right there that they're biased. They're not doing the American people any favors. Yeah, it worries me when I get in here deeper in the bunker, in the compound. I want to make sure I got a good signal, but I don't want to freeze. It's a little too chilly for the old man tonight. Yeah, Jersey Joe, everything's frozen where you're at. How cold are you going down to tonight? Tubla. He might be a part of the Mr. T administration. Unforgiven Yeri. Welcome aboard. I'll put it at Yeri. How's that, Yeri? Because you're forgiven, buddy. All you got to do is ask for it and live right. Ask for it and mean it. You'll get it. Let's see. There's too many people that ask for it but don't mean it. Kicking Bird, how you doing? That's right. A single songwriter. I can't say that word, but fashion ism, fashion ism. -5 in Kansas. Good gosh. Well, I'm not going to complain anymore. Then you got it worse than me. I used to on days like, during the day, it'd be real cold, it'd be ice all on the sidewalks and roads, and I'd come in a place where everybody was at, and I'd say, "Whoo, I'm glad I got inside. The gnats ran me out of the garden," and it'd be freezing outside. But anyway, Vivek, he is a practiced individual. Let me tell you something. I said a long time ago that he was a plant. When people were saying, well, he was a member of the World Economic Forum. Oh, he did this and he did that. Well, yeah, he did. And I said then, don't you think that we're going to put people in those positions so we can find out what's going on, right? Ever since he was a youngin'. He was a youngin'. I'm sure he went to Andrews Air Force Base and to the farm. That's good one. Forgiven. I'm gonna call you. No, I call you Yuri. Now Yuri's had a cat look just like Sadie. I put a hashtag RIP Gordo. Gordo was Sadie. I'm saying her name. She's looking at me. She expects food. I better quit doing that. Anyway, you know how they are. But anyway, that's her spirit brother. Her spirit brother. And he lost her and lost him. Gordo was a him. And I had a friend we used to call Gordo because he was a load. But anyway, -8 in Michigan. My word, Nikki. Oh, wow. Hi, Dixie. Yeah, I'm staying warm. I'm trying to. Let's see. But what, we got a week of this stuff, Well, Yuri, I don't know about tonight. I got a list of stuff I want to go over, buddy. About this big blowout win we had last night. But I tell you what, I'd love to have a good discussion with you. I've had guests on before, and I'll be very frank with you. I'm really not knowledgeable on how to invite a guest. I have to look at what I'm doing. I will sometimes mess my stream up jumping around on the screen, and I will kick myself out, and everybody be, where's Mountain Man? So when we can get together and set up a time and have a nice little talk sometime, but we're going to be going over what's happening in our country, which is the theme of my show, and I really feel it's all about really our civilization, not just Republicans. It's humanity. We want to have a future for people, and for our young people. We want them to grow up in an environment where they are psychologically sound, where they have a good direction. I'll never forget it. When my father, he was in his 80s, and as I've said in the past, I didn't realize how things had gotten in school. I didn't really realize that kids were going to school and being confronted with the issues they're being confronted with nowadays. You guys know what I'm talking about. As I've said, back in my day, my father was a Marine. And if someone would approached me when I was 8 or 9 years old about S3 actual. Now, see, Yuri, I got to talk in code because some words you Tizzle don't let me talk about. You know what I'm saying? So when I talk in code, you just got to kind of figure it out. And that's for everybody that's new. But anyway, if someone had approached me when I was 8 and 9 years old, I've said it in the past, and tried to talk to me about S3 actual things, my father would have saw to it that they were picking up their teeth with a broken arm. And that's an old saying from New York. And but my dad told me, I came by to see him, and he said, marriage is really the best way. And I was like, yeah, why are you saying that? And I'm thinking, I didn't know it was that bad in the schools. But apparently he'd been watching. I didn't watch cable. I didn't watch The View. I didn't watch Joy Reid. I didn't watch Oprah or no. I just look at or Ellen. I just look at TV and go, oh, gosh, and go on about my business. But my parents, they had the antenna. Remember that, growing up, guys? We had 3, maybe 4 channels, depending on how you move the antenna around. You didn't have cable back in our day, right, folks? And so my dad had those 3 channels, and you see stuff like that. And he had more of a understanding of the erosion of our culture, spiritual culture. Okay, I don't want to get people thinking I'm talking about anything else but that. And he knew it more than I did. And he said, I could hear the concern in his voice. And so now, that was 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And in that time period, it is right in our face, folks, that they think it is not the best way. That is what's being inculcated into our young people's minds, where they're growing up in the dysphoric world. So I don't look at it as Republican and Democrat. It's a uniparty. It's called the man, the system. I got a notification here. Holy cow. I know who that is, says someone, but I know who it is. It's Gary. Stop by, buy me a coffee. Can you give Gary some booms, Nikki? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, give him 4 booms. So anyway, Nikki had 2, 4, 7. Oh, I forgot about the UHF channels, right? That was UHF channel 20. We used to watch Lost in Space on that. Remember that? Dr. Smith, he would come on channel 20. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it so much. There, Nikki got you some booms. MS Motorsports, how you doing? So anyway, biggest thing Wanda saw with Ed Sullivan. Yeah, I don't have cable either, Gary. I quit paying for cable probably 15 years ago. It was garbage. You had to buy a package that had all these channels. I'm like, I'm not watching MTV. I would sit in my office. You know what I played while I was doing my work in the office? I played the Weather Channel. I had the Weather Channel on. And everything else you went to was garbage. So I said, what am I paying $70 a month or whatever it was? Redhausen, how you doing? Nice to see you. Let's see. Thank you, Nikki. So anyway, so Just checking the chats. But yeah, we did see some blowouts, and we're going to see some more blowouts. We got New Hampshire coming, and I remember that little story I told. I told a little story about Bill Clinton the first time he ran for president. Okay, he ran for president. Bush got in there in 88, and Clinton got in there in 92, and then again in 96. But his first time he went in 92, they had him, I believe he was even on the cover of Time magazine for New Hampshire as the comeback kid. And the fact of the matter was, he came in third place in the Democrat primary, and every newspaper said, "Comeback kid, comeback kid." And it just goes to show you how they took a loser and made him a winner just by calling him over and over again the comeback kid. And then we were off to the races ever since then. Ever since then. So that's what they're trying to do with Nikki Haley. I don't know why. I guess they're seeing that Ron DeSantis has gotten about as much traction as he's going to get. And they're hoping to spark something with Nikki Haley. And so Trump put out there, the governor is Sununu. Sununu. And a lot of you people in the chats know this, but a lot of you may not. That Sununu is synonymous with the Bush administration. All right. And when you get into Bush's, you're also getting into Cheney's. Okay. And whatever political machine they have in New Hampshire, they're going to use it to try to set a narrative that Trump is being lead is being threatened by Nikki Haley. So at the same time, here we go. Trump's got to deal with these court cases. And hi, Ken, how you doing? Tubla, she can be bought. Yeah, her main donor is the guy who started LinkedIn, and he went to the island. But Tubla, you have to misspell that guy's name. Just put a 3 for E or a 1 for I. Abstenio. Because I guess I could say his name. People are saying it so much. Maybe they took it off the radar because it's been such a big story now. And it wouldn't be a story if it wasn't for Trump. We've already been over that. Epstein would still be free, and so would Ghislaine Maxwell if Trump had never gotten into office. But a lot of people don't know that. We know it because we talk about it, and we've been talking about it for years. But we have so many people that come in that have never heard the human trafficking backstory and the big names that are in there. Hi, Tennessee. How you doing? That's right, Erie. We know what island you're talking about. And I've got to get some pictures of those. I put them up before, the lower floors. Okay, the lower floors. That's right, Dixie. Yeah, your dad was tuned in, right? He saw the dangers. And I thought my dad was just being, really old fashioned and stuff. And then, it was weird because about 2 weeks after that conversation with him, and that's the time he told me, son, you have to take a stand. And I'm like, take a stand? What? About what? I didn't know they were doing that. As far as I was concerned and am concerned, it's against the law to approach children of that age with those types of issues. But, it was going on, started in full force during the Obama administration, started full force. Yep, Virgin Air Branson. I gotta get that. Got to get back in some archives. I got pictures of him and Obama, but I can't remember. I got to go into my studio to look up this creepo's name. The LinkedIn creepo is the one who's gone to that tropical place, okay? And he's the one backing this crazy woman. And, I guess you could sue me, I guess, because I think she's crazy. Trump's been putting out her tweets. Some of them I'll read, but, he's been putting out her tweets. And one thing I said to myself, you can't shame these people. You can't shame them. They have no shame. You can't embarrass them. But you could expose them. And that was more going to be my theme, was sweating like a fanny in church, because you all know that old saying. That's an old saying, sweating like a something else in church, and they're all sweating like a fanny in church right now. The only thing you can do is rattle their cage. You can't shame them, but you can scare them, and that's what's happening. Panic. Let's see if I got everybody. Outlander said, "Where's Climate right now? Treat him nice. We treat everybody nice." Gilligan's Island. From the MS Motorsports. Gilligan, I don't know. He wouldn't want to be around stuff like that. Hi, Marilyn. Yeah, YouTube out. You tizzle. That's right. That's why you can't embarrass them. Reed Huffman. Is that his name? Single songwriter? Yeah, Creepy Colbert. That's right, Brian. That's right. There's a lot going to come out on him. And how they enjoy. Don't forget that term, schadenfreude. How they enjoy whenever they think they're going to get Trump. And, sometimes I can talk to them blue in the face, but about what's fair. It doesn't matter whether they're doing it to Trump or the mailman. You don't treat citizens the way he's being treated. And yeah, he's got islands next door, B-Dog. Let's see, it's what's Joe's brother's name? He's got land on an island within eyesight. Oh, what's the brother's name? I've said it a million times. James Biden, I think. He's got a place down there. They got access to airstrips. They got everything. All that stuff's going to be coming out. But when Trump said there's a 30%, I talked about this a bit last night on Nikki's program. When Trump said they've got 30% and you really can't get past that, my heart kind of sunk a little bit. I didn't think it was that much. I thought there would be something like 20% or 18% in the teens. But, he feels that there's 30% that you just never going to reach. And I mean, all right, it's better than 50% that you're never going to reach, which is what we've been. I mean, think of how many election cycles we've been through, folks, ever since Reagan left office. And Reagan did a 49 state sweep twice. All right, he swept the whole country. Ever since then, every election has been a nail biter Every election has been within 3, 4, 5 points, and up and down. And one term is or 2 terms as a Democrat, 2 terms as a Republican. It just doesn't make sense when you had Reagan come through and dominate the entire nation, and then the next thing you know, we're doing these pregnant chads and delayed results. How about this, folks? In Iowa, we knew the results in 34 minutes. Hand counted pieces of paper. We knew the answer in 34 minutes. They showed up at 8 o'clock. By 8:34, we had results. So look at what happened in 2020. And it's supposed to be all this high-tech contraptions, because I can't say MACHINE, right? Especially a dumb onion one. So, looking at the psychology of a nation, I think is the best way to term it. I'm even though we've got this positive news of what happened last night, that 30% is very concerning. That will never get passed. We got to deal with 30% of our country are people that want to, some guy in a beard running up to me and wearing a dress. I got to worry about that kind of stuff. Or you send your kids to school and 30% of them, who the heck knows? So, but I was thinking, never say never. And that's the importance of going back and forth with people. That's the importance of going back and forth with people and laying out reasons why. Like I said at the beginning of the program, we want to pass on a society where people, young people, KIDs, right, can grow up psychologically secure, safe, not being exposed to things where kids can be kids. They don't get preyed upon, and we have to recognize what it is that this portrayal of it being a right or a choice, a right to be able, these are not your children, they belong to us. It takes a village. That no, we have got to state the reasons why we don't want a society, and we will not have a society like that where that type of stuff is permitted. So, you can't really talk about it or change that 30%, chip away at it a little bit, get it down to 25 if you don't engage with people, So that's what we try to do. And that's why I welcome people that want to kind of, want to come in and BS about it, right? Thank you, Tennessee. Mary, let me see. Hold on. Mary, stop by. Buy me a coffee. I appreciate it, Mary. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. And thank you, Nikki, for putting the link in for me, because I can't put links in anymore. Maybe I will in the future. Gary said that 30% is not true. Trust me. Okay, I hope. I got my fingers crossed, much less. Well, Trump was saying, as far as that are, stuck, always going to vote for the bureaucracy. I'll put it that way. The D party is the bureaucracy. And I think don't if it's half of them doing it just to preserve their power in the bureaucracy, half of that 30%, wouldn't they feel a little guilty about what they're allowing to happen to young people? The psychological pressure that's being put on them when they're supposed to be kids, they're supposed to be playing, enjoying themselves, having natural interactions without the pressure of these identity questions that are in history's eyes, 5,000 years of history, abnormal pressures. When is the mental health and the avoidance of abuse of young people going to be a strong enough motivation for these people to do whatever they can to make sure that they're protected, even if it means, the old saying, blue dog Democrat. He would vote for a Democrat if it was a blue dog. He would vote for that blue dog if it was a Democrat. That's an old saying. Well, how many outrages, how many affronts do they have to see? I don't know. I'm going on a little bit of a tirade and just asking myself. Yeah, that's right. Bearded guys in dresses, Jersey Joe. They're out there. I can tell you the first time I ever, well, you know what? It all kind of came together. Around that same time, Dad was telling me, you got to take a stand and marriage is the best way. And me and a friend were about an hour away from Dad, where Dad was located in a kind of a city setting. Went to a Lowe's, and the guy I was with kind of elbowed me a little bit and nodded his head toward the register. He said, look. And I looked. I said, what are you talking about? I think I was looking at a Ryobi drill kit or something. And I said, what? And I looked at the line, and there was this guy. There was a guy in line, and he was obviously a guy, and but he had long hair, and he had a kind of like a house dress on and sandals. One of those sundresses, you just kind of pull it over your head and, there you go. You're ready to go, right? I thought maybe he was joking or I don't know. I didn't know what to think. I didn't think anything of it. So I was still looking down the aisle, and I heard this gruff voice say, what are you looking at? And I look up, my friend is there. He's nose to nose with this guy with the long hair. And the guy was mad. I mean, he was looking at him like, what are you looking at? And my friend goes, oh, nothing really, kind of like a little intimidated. So they're aggressive. And that was the first time I ever saw. I mean, in the territory I live in, that's a rare sight. Now, maybe if I go to that same city, it ain't that rare now. But 12 years ago, it was rare. So it's funny how that was right around the same time Dad brought that up with me. Do I think the beard lady was really a guy? This guy I saw at Lowe's was a guy, hairy legs. But man, he was very confrontational. I'll put it that way. So he was looking for trouble. He didn't want none of me. I wasn't involved, but he didn't say nothing to me. I was looking at him just as hard as my friend was looking at him, but he didn't want to say nothing to me. He'd been picking his rear end up off the ground, dress or no dress. Two frogmen, yeah. I do have a note here about that. That happened That happened the other day. It happened either early yesterday morning or in the evening. And what it was is they were on a training thing, and they were supposed to be boarding, I think, from a RIB rib inflatable onto another vessel, a larger vessel, is what they suspect. And they fell in. And, people are like, wow, that they're SEAL members and that shouldn't have happened. And did they get kidnapped? Or is there something more to the story? And you know what? For y'all to keep in mind that they're promoting people who do not, I'm not saying that's definitely the case here, but you've seen the training film where the kid was trying to stick a magazine in his rifle backwards, okay? You've seen the commercials where some guy skipping down a sidewalk in uniform, singing some kind of a song like Richard Simmons, and people are getting promoted and they're getting put in positions and they don't have the skills. And from what I saw on some of these TikTok videos, I don't know how these guys could get through PT, physical training. I don't know. What do they make them do now? Get out of bed? Oh, you win. Here's a cookie. You're out of bed. I can't see them doing the rough stuff. And that may have been the case, How you doing, Rick? Just something to think about. People are in positions that they should not be in. And it's like Trump was saying, you've got to be combat ready. And if you're taking hormones, or if you're scheduled for surgery, or if you're recovering from surgery, or if you've got psychotropic drugs that you're required because you're, tripolar or whatever, you're not combat ready, damn it. And you'll never be. So, but you see them still being expected to handle firearms or be involved in some kind of activities that, back in the day, you get laughed at. That's right. They want the attention, get offended when they get it. Hi, Andrew. Let's see. Warming up with where Angel's at. That's good. Pappy Chew Bear said they were trying to board a vessel in high season, swept by a wave. Yeah. And let me tell you something. It's hard to find something out there in that big ocean. Let me tell you, it's hard to find something. I've been on rivers. I've been on the ocean. I've been on the Chesapeake Bay. I've been in a sound that they call them like Puget Sound. I've been to Puget Sound, but it's harder than you think seeing just a head bobbing around out there. And if they got gear on, heavy gear, well, if you ain't quick about getting it off, it's hard to stay afloat. And if they're putting their clips in trying to put their clips in the rifle backwards, what do you think that when they hit the water? Oh, I'm cold and wet. No, you better get them boots off, boy. I don't know. Were they trying out to be SEALs, or were they active? I don't know. So anyway, it's just something to keep in mind. But they didn't give a hoot what happened in Afghanistan. They're sure not going to care about what happened with these two soldiers here. And and it takes into the next subject about this. I said weeks ago, DEI is an anagram. I think they really meant to have it the other way, DIE, right? And don't you know, that's what everybody's coming out with now because of what's going on with the airlines. They're doing the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they got cabin doors blowing off and having all kinds of problems with incompetence because they're promoting and hiring people based on issues that have nothing to do with how competent they are. And when that happens, your business is going to suffer. And in the airline industry, if safety suffers, it ain't good. Yeah, Gary, they'd have to disappear. I don't know what kind of vessel they were trying to get on or who even, what I read was that they supposed that they went over and they weren't even seen getting swept over. It's supposed that they slipped or fell in. So I don't know. I don't know. Haha, Mary said for me to get some chocolate. I'm going to do that, Mary. I'm going to get chocolate. I don't know if they were even, if they even realized they had a man overboard. And I don't know the location, the conditions. Was it nighttime? I don't know. Was it choppy waters? Did they find out 20 minutes later? Somebody say, "Hey, where's Fredrina?" Or what did they name themselves? I don't know. They're supposed to be practicing getting off the RIB, the rib. Where's the rib? I don't know. They find an empty inflatable out there floating around and no guys. So time goes by, depending on where they're at. A sip of coffee. That's what I'm going to do. Have a sip of coffee. Good idea, Gary. All right. Rick had 22 in the afternoon. Oh. Well, I tell you what, when it snows, it stays warmer in your house because that snow insulates your roof. If you ever notice that. But anyway, no, they have lowered their standards, and that might have contributed. Did you know that? Did you notice that Trump brought up Comey a couple of times? He brought him up again, James Comey, and he hasn't brought him up for a long time. But now he's bringing him up, and he's putting out a lot of signals, kind of like Dan Scavino, putting out a lot of signals, hearkening us back to the CUE posts, So I wanted, when I was in a discussion with somebody talking about classified papers, and their opinion was that Trump is a baddie because he had classified papers, I had in my notes about Comey, not only that he gave those handwritten notes to that communist professor, but what I didn't get to was if they think Trump having classified documents when he has the security clearance to have the documents, plus he's the president, 45th president, okay? How about when they took documents and put corny in? Most of you know what I'm talking about. Somebody, and this may be why Trump is bringing him up again. When they try to do a freedom, and this is for people that are not in the know, and this is not rumors or speculation. This is fact. When people were trying to get paperwork on Comey, they file Freedom of Information Act. They do a computer search for stuff with Comey's name on there, and they say, this is all we have. And they just had a couple little goofball pieces of paper that didn't mean squat. And people are saying, what are you talking about? You know, we want to know this, we want to know that. Freedom of information. So, well, we don't have anything here. We looked up Comey. Well, somebody had taken the font on the computer to where if you were reading a piece of paper, it said C-O-R-N, corn. Instead, the R and the N were so close together, they looked like an M, Comey, but it really said corny. What the computer read it as was corny. So when they put a search in there for Comey, the documents didn't get produced for Freedom of Information Acts or for investigators or for the Inspector General, all right, investigation, Durham investigation, or so they thought. They found out their BS little trick years ago, right, folks? Am I right? They found out what they did with those that font in the computer. So then they got all the paperwork where it said James Corney. And that is when James Comey was sweating like a fanny in church. And I find it interesting that Trump brought him up 2 out of the last 2 times that he gave a speech. And this last time he said, how's Corney, how Comey doing? He's not doing that well, I heard. What happened? Does he have U.S. Marshals escorting him around like Fauci and the others that I mentioned? So what got me was that today he said that they're putting an end to it. He went over what these judges are doing with particular attention to the animal. He called him an animal that is handling this E.G. Carroll garbage. And he said they were going to put a stop to it. They were putting a stop to it, and very quickly. So something's going on behind the scenes there. And I had stories. I'll probably tell a little more detail in the future, but I can tell you for a fact that judges can get arrested. Judges can be removed from the bench. It's usually done quietly. And a lot of times they're given a pass on certain things, but they disappear from the bench. So on this stuff is so high profile, and like Trump has said many times, it can't happen again. There's going to have to be examples made. And one of the things that I'm going to pat myself on the back about is that I said months ago that I expected that if there was going to be any kind of special action, not necessarily a full-blown military thing, even limited National Guard or whatever, that I felt it was going to be done by the Biden administration, whoever's in control of the Biden administration. And I noticed that some bigger creators are taking that position too. Just like I think you're going to be hearing about what I said about Vivek, about him being a plant. And as far as the military getting called out, I said Trump has to have clean hands. One of the things the mainstream media would love to have, and they're even trying to do it now. He's not in office. I showed you where they had a pic cartoon of him being a dictator marching across the world, and he's not even in office. He's been arrested. He's got 91 charges against him. He's in court every foggy day, and they're still saying that he's some kind of dictator. So they'll take any scrap they can and there's so many people out of that 30% that would bite hook, line, and sinker. Because remember what we've been told. The greatest deceiver. Who is the greatest deceiver? Well, I know Satan is. But how does somebody become one of his soldiers? How does somebody become one of his soldiers? I'll tell you how. I'll say, give the chats a little bit of time. And yeah, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I go live, so you can join the chats. Or just watch the chats go by. Oh, Comey was bloated and bearded. Yeah, they get like that. Gary said crying. I need to get a clip of that. I got a clip finally of that famous picture of that girl screaming, no, that everybody puts in the memes. That's a classic. I'm going to use that to open my broadcast from now on. So they sell their souls. Well, now, what we're told is the greatest deceiver is he who has been deceived. That's the greatest deceiver. People that have been deceived. Well, rare is the person that will admit they've been deceived and change their ways. So if they do that, they can find forgiveness. They can achieve repentance, which repentance means change how you look at things, and things change the way they look. So if that's not a condition where once you've sold your soul, there's no refunds. You don't get it back. Okay? But if you can be honest with yourself, if you can repent, if you can change your mind, if you can smack your forehead and go, holy cow, what am I doing? I'm allowing people to go into schools and do the what am I? Oh my gosh, I've been supporting something where people are meeting with Project Veritas on camera, selling organs, hearts, lungs, livers, just because that human being wasn't wanted. I mean, if the 30% could listen to what I just said, and if just a few of them could look at it that way, why would you support somebody sitting in a restaurant? Project Veritas is filming them, and they're cutting a deal for human organs. And the human it belongs to The reason their organs are being sold, one reason, nobody wanted them. Nobody cared about them. I don't care what kind of government job they wave under my nose, what kind of salary they promise me. What? Oh, I can be a mayor of a town, or I can be a prosecutor in a certain county but I go along with that? Never. And people that don't realize that that's what they're supporting, and that's why they're getting what they're getting, the power, the money, is because they're supporting that kind of behavior. The ones that can change. That's what we want to reach. That's what we want to reach. But we're going to have people like that all throughout humanity. We've had people like that. And people that have sold their souls. Yeah. Oh, I hope that's true. Every time there's a blackout, military escorts are in full swing. Well, that's the thing I was talking about, to remind everybody that before Trump left office, two things, there's many things, but two signals that were big. One was that Bill Barr lifted the moratorium on the death penalty with the federal government. Now Biden's did order putting it back in place, but that can be taken care of real quick. And he also expanded the methods. The methods, you can do anything. All the old ways are back. A chamber with GAS in the chamber, old Sparky, squad, as in firing, gallows, okay, the one they use now, sodium pentothal and everything else, it's all on the board. But the other thing they did was deputize thousands of members of the military, deputize them as U.S. Marshals. Remember that, folks? In one state, they deputized 2,300 members of the National Guard and the U.S. military to be U.S. Marshals. And we don't know how many sheriffs have deputized members of the military. That's one way to not have them throw that posse comitatus stuff as a defense. And hey, the military might already be acting like with Fauci, his escort, Hunter Biden, has got marshals around him now. They very well could be moonlighting. Could be military moonlighting as a deputized marshal. So, and the other thing I saw was calling Fannie Willis a homewrecker. That's what I was saying the other day. She's a homewrecker. That's what we used to call them back in the day. And that's what's getting around too. I mean, I don't care what she says. We'll talk about that in another broadcast. I know it's getting late, but I don't care what she says. No prosecutor. This guy's gotten close to $1 million. She's going to have a hard time talking her way out of that wasn't in some way criminal. Some way criminal. You got a text. Mary said, got a text from our power company. Ongoing upgrades. Uh-oh. Well, I don't know. Maybe they're bracing for winter storms, make those power lines a little more, you get wet snow on those power lines. Yeah, I got a generator. I just got a small one. As long as I could keep a fridge running for a couple hours, and then if you cut it off, it'll stay cold. Stuff will stay frozen, stay cold for a long time. And I have an inverter for small things like LED lights and charging my phone. And I got a wood stove I can cook on, and I got propane stove for backup. I can make my coffee. No power, no problem. Especially in the winter, I don't even need to run generator for fridges. Put the stuff in a big cooler in this kind of weather, put it out on the porch. A Sadie-proof cooler, you know? Well, now I got to worry about more than Sadies. I got to worry about a bear tearing it up. So anyway, I was thinking that they were going to come up with some kind of this go around, this particular race, that they were going to pretend and put on the media that Trump was disliked by so many people. They'd rather have Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley, and kind of minimize his victory that way. But it's too big. I mean, they can't. So that's what's got me thinking that New Hampshire, they're going to be trying to set a trap, and it's going to be more people that we can identify, by the stunts they pull. And I have another feeling that something might come up that none of us have talked about. I talked about it in the past. I call it the CHYNA, okay? Baby shock. Baby shock is what I put in my notes. And that's just to remind me what I was saying. If you remember, I said in the past that upwards of 1 million, if you remember, I know I'm repeating myself, in the past 20 years or more, there has been a steady tourist visas being given out, temporary work visas given out, temporary residency visas given out, where there's, if not more than 1 million, close to 1 million people from China who have came over here in a family way, gonna be on vacation, gonna visit their relatives, their husband's gonna go to a temporary work job, and they give birth. These ignorant and or subversive bureaucrats unlawfully hand out birth certificates and citizenship papers to a child whose parents were here temporarily, and in many cases illegally, and they go back to China. And the kid is raised from the time they're 1 month old to whenever they come back. And by this time, they're going to be military age, 18, 19, 20 years old. And they're going to have indoctrinated in their head a way of life that does not comport with our Constitution. Who knows what kind of indoctrination they could have had? Look what kind of indoctrination our own children have had. I saw a video, I didn't get a chance to watch it, that there was another SHOO, okay, T, ing, by a activist, a trans activist, okay? Another pew pew incident. How many is that? 7, 8? So what kind of impressions could they have made over there way on the other side of the face of the earth in a totally communist country where they have total control over everything they learn, and they send them over here for what? What have they been trained to do? Does that sound crazy? It doesn't sound crazy to me. Why would you have operations where you send people over here expressly for the purpose? And if they give them a sonogram, they say, you're having a boy, you're having a male child. You go to America on this vacation visa and then come back 1 month later or 3 weeks later after you, and bring Junior back, and they train him to be a soldier. You think I'm crazy? I'm not, because I know that has been going on. So we may end up, what do? You can't deport me. I'm an American citizen. That might be exposure of that kind of possibilities that can happen, might be what they use to get rid of that birthright citizenship by people who have no lawful presence in this country. If you don't have a lawful presence in this country, just because your kid's born here doesn't make him a citizen. That is not changing the law. That is the law. But the bureaucrats have been pretending that no matter what, if you're born here, you're a citizen, and that is false. If you don't have a lawful presence, your child is not a citizen. DOD might have just gave orders to go to Texas. It's getting serious. Now, what do you think, folks? Do you think that is to confront the Texas National Guard? What do you think is getting serious, folks? What are you hearing? Do you think it's to confront the National Guard, Department of Defense, or are they saying, what's the Department of Defense doing there? Are they sending suits and ties, or are they sending who would they be sending? Who are they giving orders to go? That's what I'm interested in. Did I hear about the National Guard in Jersey being sent to 2 counties? No, I'm just now hearing it from you. Militant, that's right, Gary. They're not raising anything but militants in China, but in this country, we're raising malcontents and dysphoric individuals who are going to be prone to doing horrible things. We're going to be seeing more of it. What was the term they used about the White House? Now with Trump, when they had everybody going down there, raising out the White House, trying to burn the church down, throwing bricks at Bill Barr and bottles, and Mayor Bowser telling everybody they should go onto the White House lawn. They said Trump is a coward. He went into a bunker. But with these Palestinian protesters get there and start pulling down barricades and shaking the fence and screaming and yelling, they said the White House staff was, quote, relocated. They just relocated. But with Trump, no. Then when he does come out and proves them wrong that he's not hiding in a bunker, which is what the mainstream media was saying, oh, look at all these protesters out there. Trump is hiding in a bunker. And then Trump goes, oh, okay, let me walk across the road here and hold the Bible up. Then they make fun of that, criticize that. with the media, there's nothing he can do that they can't try to excoriate him. And it's getting to be obvious to the average person that they're full of it. To confront the National Guard, Mary said, cavalry. I guess it. Yeah, it would be horrible. I don't know if they're doing, there are people, sometimes people want, like last night we had somebody in the chats, didn't we, Nikki, that was saying, oh, they're going to pull a fast one on Trump. This ain't over. Don't you think he's going to win? They get a trick up his sleeve. It was all just a bunch of crap, just trying to get people to go over to another channel and stuff like that. So you never know. All right, single songwriter. Yeah, you found an article on that, right? How old was that article? Having babies in Saipan to obtain U.S. birthright citizenship. New American News. How long ago was that article? They've been coming right down to Little China in San Francisco and New York. Been doing it for decades. Yeah, I don't think they're going to interfere with it, Mary. I don't know about those reports. It's the first time heard of it. Don't let them get you upset. Hi, jet lag. How you doing? So anyway, folks, going over my hour. I'll get some clips of these rationalizing, freaking out. Rubio, he came through. I tell you, we'll talk about him in the future too. Marco Rubio. I remember when he first became a senator. Okay, and I got some stories. He's seen the light, but he was dancing with the devil, and I don't even know he knew it. But he knows now, because you know who took him under his wing? Marco Rubio. Who took Marco Rubio under his wing was John McCain. Okay, and Marco Rubio almost destroyed his political career, or put it at risk. But he was going to go over to the dark side. He was going to be a rhino. So, my chats are stuck. Yeah, there's wackadoodles amongst us. In the punch, wackadoodle in the punch bowl. They're either floating in the punch bowl or staring at their belly buttons. One or the other. Some of that's an inside joke. That's right, Cass. The facts will come out in the end. All right, y'all. Have a great night. I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And I will be getting with you soon. I usually don't broadcast on Wednesdays, but you know what? If there's either way, if it's fun stuff or something crazy happens or something like that, I might just get a notion. And if I get a notion and you hit the notification bell, you know I had that notion. You can join me in my notions. All right, folks. You all have a great night. I want to thank Mary and I want to thank Gary and Mary for helping to sponsor the channel, helping with channel support. And I saw our friend Yuri. I haven't seen him in a while, but anyway, thank you for tuning in, Yuri. And maybe I'll have him as a guest. He's a young man starting his channel up, and we can do a little back and forth, right, folks? So anyway, thank you all. Have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.